Hi, welcome to Simply Country Cuisine. Well, for dinner this evening, we're having breakfast, and we're going to start off. I'm making Robert's one of his very, very favorites. I am making, it's actually 3-ingredient biscuits, and it's my buttermilk biscuits. I'm sure somebody else makes them this way. I watched this sweet, sweet lady, Brenda Gant, on YouTube and Facebook, and I tried for months to make biscuits like Brenda, and I couldn't do it. So then I looked at someone else, and I looked at someone else, and I thought, you know what? Brenda, and she's an awesome lady. By the way, she's in Andalusia, Alabama, and if you ever get a chance to go out there, try and stop and see her. We did. But what I use in my biscuit is butter and buttermilk. Now, in my biscuits, I use very cold butter, and I grate it. Because you'll see what I'm doing here. I'm going to make a full pan, so I don't know how many sticks it'll take. It's hard for me to give you equivalents. And I only use self-rising flour. I like White Lily. All right, I'm going to use about this much flour, self-rising flour. That's probably maybe 4 cups. And then I'm going to make a little bitty well. And if you don't like to get your hands dirty, then go buy some canned biscuits. Because when you're making homemade biscuits, honey, your hands are going to get dirty. They're going to get crumbly, and they're going to get buttery. That's probably why they taste so good. So now I'm going to take my butter, and remember, this is very cold, very hard. You could even freeze it and do this. You want cold butter because you're going to be mushing it with your hands, and it will melt the butter a bit. But once the butter is baking in the biscuits, it bursts inside the biscuits, and I don't know what to tell you. It's really good. So I have 1 complete stick here, and I'm fixing to grate it right here on my box grater. Now I have cut it. You can cut it in little cubes, and I did take 2 sticks out just in case I needed it. I'm going to throw this butter in here, and you see it's just crumbly. It's shredded. I'd say that's enough, but I don't know yet. All right, and now what I'm using, and I'm not using low fat. I am using whole, I want all the butter fat in it, cultured buttermilk. Let me get this kind of crumbly first before I put the buttermilk in it. Just blend this flour into the butter. See, it's much easier to do it this way. When it's in little chunks, little cut chunks, it's a little bit more difficult to crumble it up in there. It's not impossible. I've done it that way many times. Now, I got a little tiny bitty well here. I'm going to pour my buttermilk in that little well. And again, I'm not sure how much I'm using. That's probably about 1/2 cup. Now, I am going to start off with a spoon here, but I'll eventually just go straight to my hands. And I can tell it needs more buttermilk. Now, you know, buttermilk does not have a pleasant drinking taste. There are people that can drink it. Blah, I cannot. I don't know what the magic is once it's cooked into things. When you're, and we've done them on our show, when you're making chicken strips or you're breading something, use buttermilk. I don't know what it does to it. All right, now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty. I'm going to kind of fold a little bit. You don't want to overwork your dough. All right, I think I might just need just a dribble more. Let me open up the other ones. just a dribble more. Yeah, now it's kind of sticky. That's kind of what I wanted. All right, now I've got a little loose flour here. I'm just going to take a little bit and throw it on my bench here. Now, you'll say, well, that's not a dough. Well, it will be. I'm going to blop all this down here. You see all these lovely terms I'm using, blopping and stuff. I don't know what else to tell you to do. I want to make sure I get all the dough that has the butter in there. What I'm going to do now is I don't want to overwork it. I just want to form it. I might have to roll it into itself a little bit just so I can get I can't remember if I made Jeremiah some of these. I think I did make Jeremiah from church some of these once. I know I made Pastor some and served our delicious Simply Country Cuisine jam with it. Yes, that's really good. All right, now that's all I'm going to work it. Let me get this off my fingers. Now, remember, the only thing I'm using the shortening for is to grease the bottom of the pan. I don't want to use oil. I want to use Crisco. And I have a paper towel here. Take a little bit on your paper towel and just smear it around your skillet. If you have a seasoned, very seasoned iron skillet, it makes delicious biscuits. If you don't, no worries. Just get you a pie tin or a cake pan. Grease it though, same way. Maybe put a little parchment in the bottom. I don't know how well it will stick. Now, my grandma, Irene, God rest her soul, is probably one of my favorite people in this whole world. I love her. She was awesome. Funny little story, and I'm going to share this. My grandmother only had 9 fingers. She had burnt one off as a child. And this is, if I tell the story correctly, I hope I do. So when her oldest child, Jack, got married, he married a little Italian woman, my Aunt Ann. Hey, Aunt Ann, I know you watch these. And Aunt Ann wanted to learn how to make biscuits. Now, my grandmother did not make them this way. I think she used lard or Crisco. She probably used buttermilk. She rolled biscuits. She'd put them in her hand, and she'd roll them and put them in the skillet. Well, I've seen her do that many thousands of billions of times. But Aunt Ann thought she was hiding a finger inside her hand like this, and she was trying to bend her finger in here and roll the biscuits, and she couldn't get the biscuit off her hand, and she started crying, and she says, Mom, I just can't make biscuits like you. And she said, why? She goes, it sticks to my finger. She goes, honey, I don't have a finger there. And I just thought that was a funny story, biscuit story I wanted to share with you. So anyway, here's my cookie cutter. Just get a little flour on it. And I see how thick I have this. It's probably an inch. And then I just start cutting them out. And oh, that's a nice thick biscuit. And I'm gonna stick it in here and give it a little smush. And see how I press it down just a hair when I put it in there? Now, I've got a little bit more here. I probably could have used a smaller skillet, but there'll be plenty for dinner tonight. Now, these ones are going to be a little thinner, but still okay. Oh, this is perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And then I have one. When we were little, Grandma would always do the biscuits, and she'd have one ugly biscuit, and she would take the back of a fork or a knife and carve our initial in the biscuit, and that was our biscuit in the center. Now, like you said, like I've told you, I have smushed them. All right, now what I do is I like bacon fat, and I always have bacon fat. Let me get a clean spoon. And I'm going to get a little bacon fat on my fingers. am rubbing them each with a little bacon fat. Okay, now I have preheated my oven to 450. I'm gonna pop these in the oven. They take about 8 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes. They'll start browning really nicely. Don't let them get too dark. Take them out, set them on the stove, and they'll finish cooking. And while I'm doing that, I have lined 2 little cookie sheets with some, I'd say, thick bacon. And I'm gonna cook my bacon in the other oven at 4 1/4. So they'll get done about the same time. And while they're cooking, I'm gonna show you how I make a fried egg. All right, now while our biscuits are in a 450-degree oven, our bacon is in a 425-degree oven, I have another very seasoned iron skillet. And again, I'm getting out my bacon fat. Now, I can use the bacon fat in this, and I probably will add a half and half. I like to add butter as well. So I'm gonna put in maybe a tablespoon, no, not that much. Let's put in about that much bacon, which is probably about a half a tablespoon. I'm gonna put in about a tablespoon of butter. There we go. Now we're gonna let this get hot and melty. And it won't take just a minute. I've got it on, well, I've got it on medium high. I want a lot of fat in my skillet because I'm gonna fry the eggs. Now, if I was scrambling the eggs, I'd still put butter in there. I wouldn't put any, I could put bacon grease in there, that wouldn't hurt it. I just want my eggs to have a little bacony taste to them tonight. I need a lot of fat that I can throw up on top of my egg. And I'm only going to put 1 egg in here. I will cook more than 1 egg, but I just want to do 1 egg at a time just so I can show you. If I were cooking for a large group and I was making eggs, I would have 2 skillets going, and I would probably have 2, well, that big skillet that the biscuits are in, if they were already cooked, I would probably put 4 eggs in that, and I could put 2 eggs in this and watch it. But here's the thing, you get too many going at one time and you're gonna ruin your eggs. Now, my rule to thumb is, while you're cooking the eggs, do not salt and pepper them. Wait until they're done. Your fried eggs. Your scrambled eggs, different story. But my fried eggs, all I want is this. Now you see it's kind of bubbling a little bit. And I'm gonna take out one of these. I had one this morning that was huge. And my fat looks ready, so now I'm just gonna give it a crack. Lay that in there. And you can see, Dina, that the white is congealing already. Now, my grandkids, Josh and Jaden, they like sunny side up eggs. I can't. I gotta have a little white over. I gotta have my yolk covered. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my fat, my butter, and my bacon grease, and I'm kind of splashing the egg. I'm trying not to break the yolk. I'm trying not to tear up the white. Now, I could make lacy eggs, which is, once this gets firm, turn it over and let the edge get real lacy. This might get a little lacy, I don't know. But if you can see now, as I'm throwing this hot fat on there, you see how it's making kind of a skin on top of the yolk? It's not as bright orange as it was. Now, my husband and I like over medium, which means at a second I'm going to flip it. Now I'm going to turn my fire off, turn the eye off on my burner. I'm going to get a plate, because that egg is done and I don't want it to get any harder. I'll be right back. Okay, this egg will be fine waiting for the rest of the breakfast. And that is an over medium egg. I could cut into that and this yolk will, see, it's not super runny, but we still have a little soft yolk. All right, so I'm just gonna set this back here and I'll make up some more eggs when the bacon and the biscuit is done. All right, now some of our bacon's finished and the biscuits are done. Let me get them out of the oven. And there you have it. Ooh, my oven's whistling. Very nice, nice biscuits. Now, something I like to do is I like to take a little butter. You can use melted butter or just, because they're so hot, just take a little bit of butter now. If it's melted, it'll go on a little easier. But all it does is it gives your biscuits a little bit of a shine. Put a couple slabs of bacon on my plate. Now do not throw that bacon grease away, folks. Get a pretty biscuit here. And there you have breakfast at the Boucher's for a Tuesday night dinner. Now we have some of our strawberry jam. We have some, I think it's blackberry. Yep, blackberry jam. We make jam. And got me a cup of hot tea here. I am going to open up my biscuit. Show you how fluffy. Isn't that a gorgeous looking biscuit? And that's what will be served for dinner. I'm so glad you got to join us. Please always remember to subscribe, like, and share our videos, and you'll be alerted on Wednesdays when our next videos come out. And we're featured on YouTube, so when you subscribe, like, and share, there's a little QR code on there on Facebook as well, and if you click on that, it'll take you right over to our YouTube channel and on Instagram. And if you don't have a place to worship, please always remember to join us at any one of our Glad Tidings locations. We are one church, 5 locations in Central Texas, and some awesome pastors. We love you, God bless you, and I pray for you.